We're back with more of our one-on-one interview with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And while he represents our nation on the world stage, the secretary remains devoted to his faith and his family. So we asked about how he's balancing it all and what it was like going from a Trump opponent to the Trump cabinet. Well, I want to talk about you. You are the son of parents who came here from Cuba to pursue the American dream.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have ever imagined having a son who was first a United States Senator and now Secretary of State? That is really the American dream.
You know, and I don't know how many kids grew up to say, I want to be a senator and a Secretary of State either, you know. I don't know if they would have imagined it. I do think my parents really believed and instilled, you know, my parents didn't leave me any money or connections or anything like that. But the one thing I did inherit from my parents was this unyielding belief that we weren't limited because of who they were. In essence, my parents never made us feel like because he was a bartender and she was a maid and they came from Cuba, that there are things I couldn't do. There are things their kids couldn't do. I never felt that growing up. On the contrary, they instilled in us that basically you can be anything you want. If you have the ability to do it, you'll have a real chance to do it because you're in the one place on earth where that's possible. So that's the greatest gift my parents left me. And I think it speaks more broadly to what America's always been about. And I mean, it's not just me. I mean, if you look across our government, if you look across our business class, if you look across, very little of the top leaders in American business inherited the companies they now run. Many of these are people that came from, you know, different backgrounds that achieved extraordinary things. And that's what we always want to continue to be as a country. So yeah, it's a testament to my parents, but I really think it's a testament to America.
And as he leads the way for America on the world stage, Secretary Rubio's staying true to those core values.
I know that your faith, Secretary, has always been a big part of your life. So how has that come into play to help you in your new role here?
That's a great question. I think you rely on your faith more than anything else to ground you, like to remind you that at the end of the day, everything you do is transitory, and that it also reminds you that as big as government is or as important as politics is, in many cases, there's something more important, you know. I think it also reminds you too of like the most important jobs you have. I've always said it, I don't care what job you have. The most important job I'm ever gonna have is my role as a husband and as a father, and that comes from my faith as well.
Your family is also, I know, such a big part of your life. And you and I talked once upon a time, and I know famously when you were in the Senate, you didn't miss games, you didn't miss any of the important things in.
I tried not to. Sometimes I did, I know.
But how is it working now? Because this is a big job.
It's a little harder. My kids are a little older now, so I think they have more, you know, going on in their own lives that doesn't involve us as much in terms of like being there. But I still try not to miss things. The rule always was, if it's something that's never going to happen again, I want to be there. I think we did a pretty good job on that.
Seems like it so far.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go have some coffee. Let's go.
This is your shot of Cuban coffee?
So this is it. Okay.
Well, you've had this before.
Yeah. What do I need to know? How do we drink it? Sip?
I drink it like, try this in 2 sips.
Okay, let's see. Oh, in 2 sips. I got to catch up. Hold on.
Yeah. Well, the thing about this is, like, what I love about Cuban coffee is that if you buy it from a coffee stand in Miami, it's like $1. If you buy an espresso from Starbucks or one of these other places, it's like $4.
Yeah, I know.
So
this is the way to go. This is the way to go. We're looking out over the U.S. Capitol building there, and you were there for 14 years as a senator.
Yeah.
So does it feel surreal to be here now, looking out over, you know, what used to be your old job?
Well, you know, we've been so busy the last 6 months that I haven't had time to sort of sit back and sort of appreciate that. But I will tell you that a lot of what I learned working in that building, which is a very different job from this one, has been very useful to me here. And in understanding and appreciating the role Congress plays. But now I'm in the executive branch, right? So I think being there prepared me for this. I didn't know I was going to be here. And I have great, you know, we did a lot of really good things while I was over there that I'm very proud of. But yeah, I haven't had time to sort of take that in. We've been really busy the last 6 months.
We like you busy. That's good stuff. So we want you to keep it up.
We will.
Certainly keeping busy alongside President Trump. You'd almost forget they were once staunch opponents.
Tell me about going from sparring with President Trump on a debate stage to now working alongside him every single day.
You know, I'm a big fan of martial art, particularly like MMA, but boxing and stuff like that. And I always chuckle when politics, because if two people, you know, when two guys get in the ring, they could like each other. And you see after every fight, they shake hands, they appreciate the combat. You know, you respect someone who's willing to step into that octagon, right? because very few people in the world are willing to actually step in there and do that. But no one's ever asked these fighters, why did you punch that guy in the face in the second round? I mean, no one would ask that. It was a stupid question, right? So in 2016, both President Trump and I didn't know him. I'd never met him before. I knew who he was, obviously, but I'd never met him. And we happened to be competing for the same thing. So in any competition, especially as you get down and it narrows down to 3 or 4 people, punches are going to be thrown. But then that ends. And then we're on the same team because he's a Republican nominee and I'm a Republican. I was in the Senate during the 4 years of his first term, and it was the best 4 years I had in the Senate. We got a lot done together. And then obviously he's a resident of Florida, so he was my constituent, and we stayed in touch during that time. And then I was very happy to be helpful on the campaign. He picked one of my closest friends in politics, J.D. Vance, to be vice president. It was a great team. And then we were on the same team from that point forward and have been ever since.
How was he to work with day to day?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It is fun. And I mean, it's fun for 2 reasons. The first is he's a person of action, and I don't mean that in a reckless way, but in a let's get this thing done. And it isn't like let's wait 6 months to do it. It's more like on a 6 to 8 hour, time constraint. So I think the chance for someone like me that's been around this for a little bit, coming from the Senate where it took forever just to get a bill passed, to be in a place and in a position where things that you've wanted to do, reorganizing the State Department, getting engaged in different parts of the world and doing some of the things we've done, to actually be able to execute and do and have the backing of a president to do things and get things done is incredibly rewarding. There is no point in being in this business, in this line of work, if you can't get things done. So that makes it a lot of fun. And then I think the other part that most people don't see, and frankly, I had not seen as much until the last couple of years being around him, he's a lot of fun to be around as a person. I mean, and he has extraordinary, in my view, uncanny instincts. And I've seen that play out time and time again. And I think that's a very underappreciated part of his leadership skill set. He has incredible instincts for human behavior, human nature, and it translates to politics and global events.
Final question. You just brought up your run in 2016 for president. You are talked about quite frequently as a possible contender in 2028. Do you have your sights set outside of the State Department?
Well, I think J.D. Vance would be a great nominee. And if, I think if he decides he wants to do that. And so, I think he's doing a great job as vice president. He's a close friend, and I hope he intends to do it. I know it's kind of early, but being in the role that I'm in here at the Secretary of State, I really don't play in politics. There's actually rules against me being involved in domestic politics, and I want to do this job as long as the president allows me to do it, and stay in that job, which would keep me here all the way through January of 2028. I feel, honestly, you never know what the future holds. You never rule things out or anything like that, because you just don't know. Things change very quickly. But that said, I believe that if I am able to be here, through the duration of this presidency, and we get things done at the pace that we've been doing the last 6 months, I'll be able to look back at my time in public service and say, I made a difference, I had an impact, and I served my country in a very positive way. And I would be satisfied with that as the apex of my career, and so that's what I'm focused on right now, because we're doing some special things that I think are going to bear dividend and fruit for a generation.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.